Tupelo's Major Thoroughfare Committee has approved a project that would move utilities underground on a stretch of an east-west corridor. The committee approved a $6 million project that would move utilities underground from Clayton to Madison Street. That work is necessary before any improvements can be made to the road. Plans call for a center turn lane along that route. The original proposal called for improvements from Clayton to Robin Street, but the additional block to Madison was added on. That prompted complaints from some residents who say the cost is too high and the work is not necessary. The Tupelo City Council will vote on the Major Thoroughfare Committee's recommendation Tuesday night. Total cost for road work and utilities comes in at $9 million. After 6 years, Webster County is getting closer to having its own courthouse. Crews are doing prep work before paving the parking lot. Chancery Clerk Russell Turner says they were hoping to have the new building done by the end of June, but he thinks that is no longer possible. A January 2013 fire destroyed the old courthouse. There's no official word on when the new building is set to be completed. The saga surrounding the Webster County Sheriff's Department continues tonight. In court today, former Webster County Chief Investigator Landon Griffin pled guilty to 2 charges that were brought against him. Quentin Smith, he's been in the courtroom today. Quentin, what charges did he plead to?
Scott, Griffin pled to 1 count of embezzlement and 1 count of transferring a stolen firearm. All other charges that were initially brought against Griffin are now being dropped due to today's plea. Prosecutors say they hope this sends a message that no one is above the law, not even those wearing a badge. It started with the raising of his right hand and taking the oath.
You solemnly swear or affirm testimony given this case with the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, said to God.
After that, former Webster County Chief Investigator Landon Griffin entered his plea to Judge Joseph Loper.
He at this time waived all those constitutional rights and plead guilty to the charge of embezzlement by public officer in count 4 of the indictment and transfer of stolen firearm charge in count 5.
He had been charged with embezzlement by a public official and also of selling county property or trading county property. He pled guilty to 2 counts of that.
Today's guilty plea is done with an abundance of humbleness. We realize that what's been done, the plea today was taken from the bottom of the heart.
After his guilty plea, prosecutors recommended to Judge Loper that Griffin serve 10 years behind bars and 5 years probation after he's released.
Mr. Griffin believes in the law. He does own up to those 2 charges, and that's why he entered his plea.
Griffin first joined the Webster County Sheriff's Department back in 2016. In January, he was arrested not long after being fired from the Sheriff's Department. His plea comes on the heels of former Webster County Sheriff Tim Mitchell's guilty plea just last week.
Anyone hates to see a law enforcement officer charged with committing a crime, but you hate to see them commit the crime to start with. It shouldn't happen.
District Attorney Doug Evans admits this situation negatively impacts law enforcement officers. However, he's now hoping this shows that if you do the crime, then you must do the time, regardless if you're an officer or not.
And that's the way it's supposed to be. It doesn't matter who you are, you can't break the law.
Now, Griffin, along with former Webster County Sheriff Tim Mitchell, will both be back in court again on July 30th for their sentencing. Former Webster County jailer Santana Townsend was also charged in the investigation. She goes to trial in January. Scott?
All right, Quinn, thank you very much for that. The Webster County Board of Supervisors, they unanimously vote to accept the resignation of former Sheriff Tim Mitchell. It was just last week when Mitchell pled guilty to 2 counts of trafficking firearms and 2 counts of embezzlement. Andy McCants was reappointed as the sheriff effective immediately. The now Sheriff McCants was first appointed as the department's leader by the court in January of this year. However, that ruling was voided after Mitchell's official resignation on June 12th. McCants says he does not plan on running for re-election in August, nor is he endorsing any of the candidates.
I'm staying completely neutral in this, and I wish them all good luck.
Okay.
My only thing is I hope that Webster County gets a good sheriff to continue on. I'm just trying to do the best I can for this county, reorganize the sheriff's department, and do the right thing for the citizens of Webster County.
McCants says he will serve as the sheriff of Webster County until January 6th of 2020. Time now to toss things over to Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson to get a first look at our Monday night forecast. Hey there, Keith.
Scott, we had some heavy rain and storms around the region with a lot of lightning, and one strike right here. There's a pine tree actually caught on fire, and then it splintered and hit that mailbox. That was near Starkville earlier today. All the reason to be indoors when these storms roll on through. Right now, some cloud cover, some isolated showers lingering, all the heavy stuff done for now. Still the opportunity for a rogue shower or thunder shower later on this evening and tonight into tomorrow morning as the disturbance continues to rotate through the region. And guess what? More showers and storms likely on Tuesday, so if you missed out on the rain, another opportunity. We are in the 80s. Full forecast is coming up.
Mississippi's congressional delegation is asking President Trump to consider another federal disaster declaration in the state. Severe weather and flooding happened on April 13th and 14th. Also, you may remember a deadly EF2 tornado hit Hamilton on the 13th. The delegation is asking the president to fully consider Governor Phil Bryant's request for a major federal disaster declaration. In our area, the request would cover Clay, Itawamba, Kemper, Monroe, and Oktibbeha counties. There's no timeline for FEMA to respond to their request. 1 in 4 Mississippi students failed this year's third grade reading gate test. That means more summer reading work for many students. Statewide, in Jackson, the Mississippi Children's Museum is giving an extra boost to more than 70 students this week. Courtney Ann Jackson explains.
The Read to Succeed week-long camp at the Mississippi Children's Museum is the last stop for these students before their final shot at passing the third grade reading gate test. They've had a full school year worth of lessons, so how is this different?
We believe a more inspiring place, a less stressful environment, and we bring them in. We provide them with reading interventionists. We have master level teachers from all across the state of Mississippi who come in for this week, and they just work really hard to help those students increase their skill set so that they can make those gains and pass the third grade reading test.
While the focus is all on reading, they switch up the way in which they're learning.
Put this and honest together. What's the new word?
Even adding in art to help with vocabulary and reading comprehension.
They're getting lots of high fives. They're getting told that they're going to pass, that they're capable of passing this test. And so for many, we believe that they just leave with a little more confidence, and they go in the very next week and take the test.
And the methods have proven successful in past years. Last year, 55% of those who attended the reading camp passed on their next retake. More than 70% saw gains on their scores. Districts statewide are trying to help those still needing to pass, but the community involvement for this camp helps set it apart.
Whether that's your child's school or it's not, it benefits our community for us all to pitch in.
If students don't pass on the third attempt, they won't be promoted to fourth grade. Courtney Ann Jackson, WCBI News.
Tomorrow evening, we will be watching Omaha, Nebraska right there. There will be some showers and storms around that part of the world, so we are cautiously optimistic things will be okay, but we'll see. For Game 2 of the College World Series, MSU taking on Vanderbilt. 71 degrees, the forecast at 6 o'clock. The full forecast for our area is next.
WCBI First Alert AccuWeather Forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
We are now into that part of the year where we have a lot of morning sunshine or partly cloudy conditions, and then afternoon storms erupt. Spooky looking clouds like that shelf cloud right there. Some ominous lowerings at times, but really sometimes these storms are more bark than anything else. But obviously on the leading edge of some of them like that, right there, very ominous, very imposing, those shelf clouds. And that's how it looked in downtown Columbus earlier. So if you saw that, you're thinking, wow, what's going to happen? Well, in the Columbus area, at least in the city, not a lot, but you go north and west, and it was pretty active with some of those heavy storms. But daily rain chances will continue. If you missed out, I think my place missed out on the heavy rain today. I'd love to see some decent moisture, but if you missed out, several more opportunities here. Some storms could be locally strong. Gusty winds, some small hail, heavy downpours, thunder and lightning, the main threats this time of year. We'll wind down the rain chances a little bit this weekend and warm things up. Currently in the low to mid 70s, mainly low 70s now. That's about where we're going to be for the rest of tonight. So As we check it out in Columbus and Tupelo, Vernon, at Durham's Pharmacy, and in Louisville, Mississippi right now, all quiet. A few isolated sprinkles, light showers out there, but in general, the heavy stuff is done. But we had a good soaking here. There's Louisville down to your southwest, and even in Louisville proper, we had some very heavy downpours, some of you getting over 2 inches. Starkville right there, just west of town, a little pocket of maybe 2 to 3. Up here in Calhoun County as well, 1 to 2 plus. Scattered across North Mississippi, not a lot or a lot. About a 1/10 of an inch in Tupelo, but you go in other places in some spots over an inch. And in West Alabama and Lowndes County, Noxubee County, a little bit of rain, but really not a lot compared to your friends back to the west and southwest. So that's the way it was today, and you can still see a little bit of a swirl somewhere across the region, a lot of that kicking off these showers and storms. So the heaviest rain is now done, but this disturbance is still with us tonight, and that could still give rise to a shower or storm. Around 70 degrees, that's about where we are right now. Your planner for Tuesday, 70s or so at 7 o'clock. Not really a lot of rain expected initially, but during the heating of the day, much like today, we'll have a pretty good chance for some of those scattered showers and storms. So about 84, 85, 86 for you in the Tupelo area, maybe a little bit warmer, closer to Columbus. West Alabama also somewhere in the mid-80s. The rain chance 60%, winds from the southwest at 5 to 10. So that's the way it's looking locally and really across all of Mississippi and Alabama. Chance for a few more storms and showers later tonight. We'll flare things back up tomorrow. There you go, right there. A lot of that will pulse back down. And then Wednesday may not be too terribly active during the day, but there could be a complex that comes on in later in the day into Wednesday night. And that little frontal boundary will keep those rain chances going Thursday into Friday. But rain chances lower a little bit. Saturday, Sunday, partly cloudy. Highs in the low to mid-90s.
The Yalma Dogs are one step closer to their dream, but it doesn't get any easier. Tom takes in some practice and finds out where MSU is headed from here. Welcome back. Dementia is a term that describes a group of symptoms that are typically associated with a decline in memory skills. We'll learn more tonight in our Health Talk with Baptist.
Hello, I'm Dr. Ashley Harris, geriatrician and chief medical officer at Baptist Memorial Hospital, Golden Triangle. This week, we will be looking at conditions that affect the older population. Dementia is a condition where there is deterioration in memory, thinking, behavior, and the ability to perform everyday activities. Although dementia mainly affects older people, it is not considered a normal part of aging. Alzheimer's disease is the most common type of dementia. The symptoms of dementia can be understood in 3 stages. The early stage is often overlooked because the onset is gradual. Common symptoms include forgetfulness, losing track of the time, becoming lost in familiar places. As dementia progresses to the middle stage, the signs and symptoms become more obvious and include becoming forgetful of recent events and names, difficulty with communication, experiencing behavioral changes including wandering and repeated questioning. The late stage of dementia results in continued decline in function and activity. Symptoms include becoming unaware of time and place, difficulty recognizing relatives and friends, difficulty walking, and behavior changes that may escalate and include aggression. There is no current cure for dementia, but interventions are available that can slow its progress. More importantly, much can be offered to improve the lives of people with dementia and their caregivers. The main goals for dementia care are early diagnosis to promote optimal management, improving physical activity, detecting and treating challenging behavioral symptoms, providing long-term support to families and caregivers. Join us next time for Health Talk with Baptist, where we will discuss falls.
Your topic suggestions to Health Talk at WCBI.com. Health Talk has been brought to you by Baptist Memorial Hospital, Golden Triangle.
The month of June, by the way, is Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month, and happening on the 27th is a program with Dr. Harris titled Alzheimer's Disease and Other Dementias, More Than Just Memory Loss. Now, you have to pre-register to attend the event. You can do so by calling 662-244-1132. The Bulldogs have one win under their belt, but the games get tougher as they play through. We check in with our team in Omaha when we come back.
WCBI News at 10 p.m. is brought to you. WCBI sports coverage of the NCAA College World Series is brought to you in part by Monroe County Farm Bureau, Jackson Square Storage, Bill Cunningham, attorney at law, and Bank First, a better way to bank.
For the second straight season, Mississippi State advances to the winner's bracket of the College World Series. Marshall Gilbert, the hero in Sunday night's thriller, a 5-4 walk-off victory against Auburn to make the Bulldogs 1-0 here in Omaha. Bulldogs getting in some practice on Monday, preparing for yet another SEC tough task. The Bulldogs will meet up with Vanderbilt on Tuesday to see who will advance 2-0 in the College World Series. But that Game 1 victory, if you look at the numbers, is incredibly important. Winning Game 1 of the College World Series favors the eventual national champion very well, as opposed to losing Game 1. Mississippi State trying to come down off the high from Sunday night, knowing that Monday's practice was about getting back to work.
They were obviously excited, hard to go to sleep last night for players, coaches, fans. But, we didn't come out here to win one game. That's what that kind of message last night, that enjoy it. But you can't get too high and you can't get too low out here. And so hopefully we can get regrouped today, focus, have a good practice, rest our bodies, and be ready to go tomorrow.
Having confidence you're going to win the game, it makes a big difference. But like I said, not one time on that field did I ever doubt that we were going to win the game. And it showed tonight.
Last year, we won the first two, and then we lost the next two. So it's just about coming back out here, getting our work back in, and concentrating on what Vandy brings on the field and what they're going to do to try to beat us. So we come out here, refocus, and get ready to play them.
It'll be Mississippi State and Vanderbilt in pivotal postseason baseball yet again. The Bulldogs, of course, defeating Vanderbilt in its Super Regional back in 2018 in an absolute thrilling 3-game series. And then Vanderbilt defeating Mississippi State in the SEC tournament 1-0. The Bulldogs, of course, coming off that absolute aberrance of a ball game, 17 innings against LSU. On the mound for Vanderbilt will be Kumar Rocker taking on Mississippi State's Peyton Plumlee. Rocker, of course, his last appearance, a complete game no-hitter with 19 Ks to keep the Commodore season alive. Mississippi State and Vanderbilt have played a lot of insane games over the past couple years, and head coach Chris Lavonis expects nothing else.
I think it's really crazy to take a lot off that game because it was two different starters, and those starters were really good. There wasn't a lot to that game. Not a lot of offense for us, not a lot of offense for them. We've played them a lot. Our guys played them last year. We're very familiar with each other. I just think it's a brand new game. How these two arms run out there and pitch will be the key.
We played well, they played well. They just kind of edged us that night. But I think, we played them last year. They were a similar team as they were last year. They've just kind of grown a little bit, matured as a team. So they're really good, and they're not going to make many mistakes, so we can't either. We're going to have to be dialed in and play good baseball, and if we play good baseball, I think we have a good shot.
The guy's got a very good slider. He's also got a really good fastball. Don't get me wrong, we're going to have to show up because I'm almost positive he will because, a freshman with Vanderbilt season on the line went out there threw a no-hitter, 19 Ks. That says a lot about the kid, so we're going to have to give him our best shot.
The first pitch between the Bulldogs and the Commodores on Tuesday comes at 6 p.m. Tune in to WCBI Sports all throughout the day Tuesday as we get you ready to see if the Bulldogs can go 2-0 and be in the true catbird seat here in the College World Series. Reporting in Omaha, Nebraska, Tom Ebel, WCBI Sports.
WCBI sports coverage of the NCAA College World Series is brought to you in part by Bill Russell Ford, Prestige Farms, OCH Regional Medical Center, Advanced Medicine, Compassionate Care, Home Store Furnishings in Starkville, and Visit Columbus, the city that has it all.
We have more rain and storms in the forecast. This doesn't guarantee every spot a heavy storm each and every day, but possibilities exist through Friday before we'll dry things out and warm things up for the weekend.
All right. Thank you very much, Keith. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great night. We'll be right back here tomorrow, same time, same place.